In our lineup today, here on The Now, we are talking about an annoying part of summer, mosquitoes. You have to protect yourself, so we have a couple of the popular repellents, and we put them to the test. And a doctor diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer is using his final days to bring awareness to how he found out about his illness, the change that he's pushing for that would improve care for all of us. And some tax credits for electric cars could run out soon, so we're taking a look at just how much savings are at stake if you make the switch from gas-powered vehicles.
Chris, thank you. This is The Now Indy on RTV6. I'm Mark Mullins. Sepsis is a deadly complication that kills thousands of Americans every year. But do you know what it is or the signs that it is set in? A widow shares her story with RTV6's Aaron Lish on the dangers of this condition. It hopes it could save the lives of others.
He was just ripped from me so suddenly.
Lisa Bartlett lost her husband, Jeff, 7 years ago from sepsis.
He died 24 hours after the very first symptom of uncontrollable shaking.
ER doctors at Methodist hospitals say anyone can get an infection, and any infection can lead to sepsis. So really anyone can get this condition.
It promotes an inflammatory response throughout the whole body that makes you sicker than other infections.
Signs can include a fever, shivering, confusion, and extreme pain. Bartlett says doctors misdiagnosed Jeff, thinking his symptoms were the flu.
It was very, very quick with him.
He went into septic shock and passed away.
It turned my whole world upside down. I mean, my everything was gone.
The big thing about sepsis is immediate care.
The key to treating sepsis is early recognition, first of all, but also early antibiotics and early fluid.
Bartlett warns people about the dangers of sepsis because she wishes she knew about it when Jeff was alive.
You have to do whatever you need to do because, in hindsight, I would have fought a lot harder if I, had the chance to do it over again.
Again, when it comes to sepsis, it's all about time. Watch out for the temperature, infection, mental decline, and if somebody is extremely ill. At that point, contact 911 or talk to doctors and say, hey, I am worried about my loved one having sepsis. And here at Garfield Park this Saturday, there will be a 5K in honor of Jeff and raising more awareness about this condition.
It is a beautiful summer evening across central Indiana, and as we're checking out the view over Indianapolis, you can see Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and also we've got Lucas Oil Stadium, the Indy 11 going to be in action a little bit later, and also the Indy Indians at home at Victory Field. We'll check out the forecast here in just a second. We've got temperatures well into the 80s. Some areas did make it to 90 degrees this afternoon. You're sitting at 89 right now in Kokomo, with that west to southwest breeze around 5 to 10 miles per hour, and may have noticed a little more humidity out there, and that's triggered a couple of isolated showers. We take you in, and that one we did have in northern portions of Tippecanoe County. That one faded away. We've got another shower that's popping up just north of Fowler. That's going to continue to move off to the north and east, and anything will stay pretty isolated here for the next several hours, and much of the night. Most of us will stay dry, but there's your forecast. If you're heading off for the ball game tonight, we'll have those temperatures in the middle to lower 80s. Yeah, the muggy meter, that's going to continue to rise here over the next several days. We'll talk about the heat that will rise as well coming up. Chris?
Let's start the news feed. Former special counsel Robert Mueller will testify before Congress next month. The House Judiciary Chair saying the testimony will correct what he calls a campaign of misinformation by the president and attorney general. Mueller did not reach a decision on whether the president obstructed justice. French authorities say there is no sign of criminal activity that started that fire at Notre Dame Cathedral. Prosecutors say that this fire in April, it was most likely an accident. They think a cigarette or electrical issue could be at fault. The largest oil refinery on the East Coast is closing. A fire last week setting off explosions at the Philadelphia facility. A research analyst telling the Associated Press that Americans should not expect a major shock to gas prices as a result of this. Well, this week we told you about a new study that found that commonly prescribed medications could almost double your risk of dementia. Corey Rangel talked with a doctor to learn more about the drugs and what patients should do.
Dr. Scott Turner does his best to treat patients with memory disorders such as dementia. He is the director of the Memory Disorders Program at Georgetown University Medical Center. While there are treatments that may temporarily help, there's no cure for dementia, which is why a new study is getting a lot of attention. It found your daily dose of certain medications could be increasing your risk for developing dementia.
It's just a pretty substantial risk and just brings to bear the thought that, the medication should not be used lightly.
The study, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, found the risk of getting dementia increased nearly 50% for patients who took medication every day for at least 3 years to treat some of the most common conditions in older adults, including bladder control, Parkinson's, depression, and epilepsy.
This study is important because dementia is very common in older individuals, and these classes of medications are also very commonly prescribed. So I think there will be a lot of discussions between patients and their doctors about the risks and benefits of these medications.
The study warns people not to stop taking any medication without talking with their doctor. Alzheimer's is the most common type of dementia, which is the 6th leading cause of death in the U.S. I'm Corey Rangel reporting.
Such an important issue, Corey. Thank you. Let's get back to our lineup and run, hide, and fight. That is the message that we hear when it comes to active shooter situations. Now new research is bringing up questions about what may be most effective to keep us safe.
Only get yours at Zaxby's.
Welcome back to the Now Indy on RTV6. A sports writer and betting expert is facing new charges, accused of defrauding a Fisher's bank out of more than $8,000. Hamilton County prosecutors charge Christopher Price with fraud of a financial institution, which is a felony. Fisher's police found Price transferred funds between accounts at Citizens State Bank to appear as if he was conducting legitimate banking activity. Our Call 6 Investigates team found Price is also accused of violating the terms of his probation 6 times in unrelated cases. We were unable to reach Price, and his attorney had no comment. Chris.
The Broward County Sheriff's Office finished its investigation into the shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, and the sheriff revealing that 2 deputies were fired yesterday. He said it was clear there was a neglect of duty. 2 other deputies had already been fired, and 3 deputies were subject to investigation. They didn't face any disciplinary action. Now, when it comes to active shooter situations, safety experts have long said that people should run, hide, and fight. Now researchers at Purdue are emphasizing the importance of running. Researchers used a computer model of Columbine High School's library. They created several scenarios during that shooting, and they found that the number of casualties was lower when people ran rather than hiding. Now, part of it had to do with just how far a gunman can shoot. Researchers did make sure to highlight that people shouldn't always run during active shooter situations, and they say organizations like schools and workplaces should have an active shooter plan, especially one that involves taking down a shooter. Let's turn to the Now News feed, and there's a new study that found samples of non-organic milk tested positive for pesticides, illegal antibiotics, and growth hormones. This was a study done by Emory University. They say organic milk tested at either much lower or non-existent levels. Researchers say they aren't sure, though, what impact these chemicals can have. A new study showing the importance of staying active. The study in the British Medical Journal found that those who become more active in middle or older age, they're linked to longer life. Researchers say if more people just meet the minimum exercise requirements, 46% of deaths associated with inactivity could be prevented. Robots may be an answer to helping children in the hospital. MIT developing this robotic teddy bear, and they found when children interacted with this bear at hospitals, their positive emotions, engagement, and activity level improved. All right, let's get back to our lineup here. And a doctor wants training to change after he found out about his cancer diagnosis in a way that he calls unprofessional.
Well, I don't think my reaction was one of anger. It's sort of more like, how easy it is to be careless as a physician.
How he hopes his story will mean more compassion from doctors. That's ahead here on The Now.
Only on RTV6 News.
Now that summer's in full swing, we all want to be outside, but let's face it, mosquitoes can ruin that experience. Annie Taylor put 2 products to the test to find out which best protects you.
Mosquitoes. They're considered the deadliest animal in the world, believe it or not. More than 700 million people around the globe get sick from mosquito bites, and more than 700,000 people die from those bites each year.
We always see West Nile virus peaks right after the 4th of July weekend because people have been outside and not protecting themselves.
So we went went to an expert to find out which mosquito repellents give the best protection.
I do have a PhD in entomology, or insect ecology, so.
Kylie Grenis knows a lot about bugs. She used to collect mosquitoes for the Tri-County Health Department in Colorado. She concocted our mosquito repellent test.
We are going to hang some dry ice near those traps to simulate a human standing and breathing, and hopefully that will help attract more mosquitoes to our traps.
We couldn't have picked a better spot. This place was swarming with mosquitoes.
Hey, you guys wanted mosquitoes. I didn't want to disappoint.
We got 3 traps and 2 different kinds of repellents. One with DEET and a DEET-free product that people swear is one of the most effective mosquito repellents. Skin So Soft by Avon. We sprayed 2 of the traps and kept 1 free of spray to see how many mosquitoes we'd collect without any protection. We then hung the traps with the dry ice and let them sit for just over an hour. In our DEET sprayed trap, we had 1 mosquito. In our Avon sprayed trap, we didn't catch any mosquitoes. In the control trap, there were 4 mosquitoes. So the sprays definitely kept the mosquitoes away. However, Kylie prefers DEET.
It is great at making you invisible to mosquitoes. It blocks their receptors so that they can't detect your carbon dioxide signature.
But many consumers fear products with DEET are not safe.
I think a lot of the time people get it confused with DDT, but DEET itself, you could drink a gallon of it and you'd be fine.
Kylie has some tips if you're concerned about safety.
DEET is probably one of the most effective insect repellents. You can use that on your clothes. You're trying to avoid places where you have low, like very shallow water. That's where mosquitoes are going to breed.
Plus, keep your grass cut short.
During the daytime, they like to hang out in the grasses.
Ultimately, don't forget to use mosquito spray. It really does work. I'm Annie Taylor reporting.
Good advice there. Thank you, Annie. A traffic alert really for the rest of the week if you travel on I-65. Tonight, INDOT is going to close the I-65 northbound exit ramp to Albert S. White Drive near Lebanon. That begins at 6 p.m. The ramp will reopen around midnight. Then at midnight, INDOT will close the I-65 northbound exit ramp to State Road 267. That closure will last until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. There will be more ramp closures later this week on I-65 in Boone County. For a complete list, go to this story on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com. New on the Now Indy today, the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles announced it will move the Indianapolis West branch from South Mickley Avenue to Crawfordsville Road. The new location will open up on Tuesday, July 2nd. The BMV says it will be an expanded branch that has Marion County's first BMV Connect Center. BMV Connect is a self-service kiosk which gives you the option to complete more than a dozen BMV transactions 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Again, the new BMV West branch will open July 2nd at 5620 Crawfordsville Road.
And maybe you're going to go for a drive around Monument Circle this evening, and all is looking good. You can see the sun is shining there. We've got the reflective pools as well, and setting up really to be a pretty nice evening. Again, a little bit toasty, and we've got that isolated chance for a shower or thunderstorm, and those rain chances going to stay pretty limited here over the next several days. In fact, we take you in, you can see north of Fowler, we've got a little bit of lightning on this one now. Again, nothing strong or severe, and then we've got another shower that's popping up there along 231. Just to the north and west of the Lafayette area and Battleground. So that's going to continue to lift north and east of the area. Then as we look back to the west, yeah, we got quite a bit of lightning with some thunderstorms back into western Illinois. We'll keep tracking those for you this evening. Just that marginal or isolated threat. A few of those as they make their way into the western portion of the state could produce some gusty winds. Out on Morse Reservoir, got a few boats taking advantage of the nice weather and stirring up that warm breeze. Temperatures 90 degrees for you in Greenwood, 91 right now in Muncie. Overnight tonight, not going to cool a whole lot. Upper 60s to around 70 degrees with that isolated shower or storm. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies. And your Thursday forecast coming in, once again, a toasty one. We'll have some clouds around the area. A lot of sunshine, though, and that will get temperatures back into the upper and middle 80s across all of central Indiana. Some areas could, again, sneak into around 90 degrees. 88 for you in Columbus and Rockville. 86 tomorrow afternoon in Danville and Hendricks County. Here's a look at TrueCast tomorrow afternoon. Once again, just an isolated shower or storm, but most areas going to be staying dry. And this is the pattern we'll deal with right through the upcoming weekend. Partly sunny skies, highs around 90, and that isolated chance for a shower. Chris?
Let's start the Now News feed with Facebook teaming up with police in France. The social network has agreed to help police identify hate speech suspects online, and France's government says this is the first time Facebook has agreed to do this anywhere. A new study says sitting at work may not be as bad as first thought. The Journal of the American Heart Association found that sitting at work did not lead to an increased risk of heart disease or death in this study. Now, what did lead to problems were those who watch TV for 4 hours or more a day. Now, the country's biggest chicken producers are facing lawsuits accusing them of price fixing. The U.S. government's investigating as well. Companies including Walmart are accusing Tyson, Sanderson, and Purdue of working together to raise prices. A doctor diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer last year may only have months to live, but his story is as much about his illness as it is a way that he found out about it. Now, he opened up to our Chris Welch about what happened in the hopes that doctors are trained to have more compassion.
It's never an easy task to tell someone that they have a terminal illness. How can it be? I mean, it brings your own mortality into the picture, for one thing.
As a now retired physician, Dr. Ron Nato knows this firsthand.
Have you ever had to deliver the news that someone's dying?
Yes, many times.
But he'd never before been on the receiving end.
So, I mean, of all the major cancers, the one with the most dire of all prognoses is probably pancreatic, particularly what I have, which is stage 4. And I don't think he felt comfortable telling me or discussing it.
And that was the first specialist. Nato overheard another discussing the size of his tumor just outside his exam room.
And they were walking this way, and they said 5 centimeters, he told a medical student. And then they were walking the other way, and I heard the words very bad. And I knew it was me, obviously. And I know that pancreatic cancers, if they exceed 3 centimeters, it's a negative sign.
The doctor never did talk to him about his tumor. Still, Nato wasn't angry with his doctors.
They're not uncaring. It's just that they don't have any experience or training. Nobody's there to guide them. And there's no book on this. I mean, you can't go to the medical school library and check out books about how can you deliver a dire diagnosis to patients. That book does not exist, I don't think.
But that's why he's not only choosing to do this interview despite his weakness, but why he's given Oregon Health and Science University's Center for Ethics in Healthcare a grant so that Dr. Katie Stowers can teach the next generation how to better deliver news to someone who's dying.
Unfortunately, Dr. Nato's experience is not an anomaly.
Now, medical students under Stowers' guidance must pass a unique final exam, delivering grim news in mock scenarios.
It's not that doctors are bad or inhumane. It's that they just haven't been taught how to do this the right way.
Nato says the right way all comes down to this.
When you're talking to your patient that has terminal illness, you have to realize your doctor and patient roles become a little bit blurred, because basically you're just two souls, you're two human beings meeting at a very deep level. And you're in charge with giving this other person the most devastating news they will receive in their lifetime, potentially, and it's a very crucial moment.
Reporting in Portland, Oregon, I'm Chris Welch.
It's a really tough and powerful story, Chris. Thank you. Let's turn back to our lineup here on the Now. And some tax credits for electric cars could run out soon. Next in the lineup, we're going to be taking a look at just how much savings are at stake if you make the switch from gas-powered vehicles. You're watching the Now.